And that is a big task, okay? I always think about our people and our team. If we cannot attract the best team. I want to have the best team in the UK, the best team in Brazil. I think we have that today, and we maybe can do a bit more in terms of building and strengthening at second and third level. But I think we're in a pretty good place. And then, of course, the macro, and I think that is the biggest challenge we all have. But as I said, the balance between developing and developed at Santander, so those 10 core markets are in Europe and the Americas. And it's a split between developing and developed, and that's going to give us more stability than others. So if things get quite bad, as I said before, we should do better than others. Now, we will be affected. I think you need competitive taxation. If London wants to be competitive with other financial centres, I think it's very important that the UK authorities understand how they're taxing financial institutions in the UK vis-à-vis other centres. I think with the new changes next year, we're at a disadvantage in the UK. I say we because we are part of the UK. I always say Santander does well in the UK if the economy does well. And I think, banks, and again, we are very much a challenger bank in this country, in the UK, it has to be competitive with other centres. And at the moment, I don't think it is for the next few years.
Are European banks in general at a disadvantage because we're that far behind in maybe getting our act in order, because we're possibly looking at more QE also from the ECB? That hurts your margins.
Well, the US did all the changes. The UK has done most of them. Continental Europe, the rest of Europe is sort of in the process. This has a cost, and so QE needs banks that can then transmit QE to the economy, right? Yeah. So we can make loans and give you a mortgage and fund a startup. Because regulation has still not been implemented in many aspects, so there's still I think I was told in Brussels a few days ago, there's still 300 pending pieces of legislation in banks. I heard the number of 400. So let's say it's between 300 and 400. This means that banks are going to be holding back a bit, even though we're increasing lending. For example, we are increasing lending in Spain right now. But I think there is a drag effect because of this uncertainty and because this regulation is still in the process of being implemented.
You mentioned the US. There are concerns around the US because the Fed failed the stress test on Santander. How are you addressing it?
So I want to say it's not just the Fed, is that we need to meet our own very demanding internal standards, and we're working very hard. The first thing we did is change the team and the governance. We have a new board in the US, a new chairman at the holdco level, a new chairman at the SCUSA level at Santander Consumer, and a new team. So I believe we now understand what we need to do. And our aim is to show significant progress next year on the regulatory agenda. Yeah.
But you're keeping it. There's nothing up for sale.
We're absolutely committed to the US. It's a great country. In spite of the regulatory difficulties, our return on equity in the US is 8.5%, which is not that bad, right? It covers our cost of equity. Our aim is to get to 11% return on equity. But as I said, very importantly, is to meet the regulatory requirements and our own standards.
Do you worry about disruptors, about new entrants? And I know you were saying that the recent research shows that only 2 people out of 10 actually want an only online experience. But how much do you look at the competition? You were talking about offering, for example, Apple Pay as a service.
Apple Pay is not a good business for Santander, but it's a good business for my customers. So I think eventually it will be a great business for us. So we launched Apple Pay in the UK. We were the first group, and our customers love it. And we did it because a significant proportion of our Santander UK customers had an iPhone. So we thought we have to offer them Apple Pay as soon as we can. What is interesting is that we now developed a great app called Spendlytics around Apple Pay, which is making customers more loyal to Santander because you can see where you spend money. It's a great tool, and it's very popular. So I think we need to continue to innovate, and I think that is the key thing. Having said this, I think the important thing is, and I said this recently in Frankfurt at a meeting, we need a fair play market for all. And so the rules have to be the same for banks and new entrants. And I think this is incredibly important. So sharing information if I share my customer information, the new entrants should share the customer information, because otherwise it's very difficult to run a business. And so I think that is the key thing.
Do you think they will? Do you think that the regulators are looking at this and understanding? Because the problem with disruptors is that they move so fast.
Yeah.
That regulators have to really understand that market.
Yeah, I think they are. And I think one of the things we're doing also is, and I think there's many of these new companies that are, which we are collaborating. Again, thinking about our customers. So we're working with Apple Pay, Funding Circle. We were the first bank to team up with them. And when I say no to a customer because my lending criteria don't accept his credit or her credit rating, we send them to Funding Circle. So I believe in collaboration with the new entrants, but not with all of them, because some of them are actually, not ready to do that. But I think we are trying very hard to work with the new entrants and also to do our own disruptive strategies.
You are considered probably one of the most influential Europeans across the globe, and in a most influential around the world list, we seem to understand that there are fewer Europeans that there should be, given the population in this region. Why do you think that is?
We need more diversity, and it's not just about women. I think we need more diversity in companies, in boards, and I think women are a significant part of that diversity. I'm very proud that we now have a woman chair in the UK, a woman chair in Santander Consumer, and we're increasing the programs to support senior women. I think it's a matter of time, but there's a lot of work to do, and I think we need to work together with the men. I always say if I get invited to an event where there's only women, you're preaching to the converted. So we need to work together with senior people in the companies to make sure that we can do something. We need to do more. Clearly, we need to do more, and I think we need to incentivize business leaders to actually do this, because it's great for the business. And I'm convinced that it's going to be good, not just for the women, but good for the companies.
In 3 years, where will you be? And where will the bank be?
So we're setting very ambitious targets. So we want to be, in terms of financial targets, I think, in a very ambitious place. But very importantly, I want us to be the best bank in many more markets. So we're already the best. And when I say the best, it's the best for our people, our customers, also our shareholders and communities. I think in some of the smaller countries, like Portugal or Chile, we're already there. We want to be there in many more of our 10 core markets, And we define best, as I said, not just for our shareholders, but for all our stakeholders.
Anna Butin, thank you so much for speaking to Bloomberg.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.